Okay, we'd like to welcome you and call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. It is April 11th, 2023, and it is still 6:30 PM, and we're meeting in the council chambers of West Valley City Hall. We have all members of the council present. Councilman Fitzsimmons, Councilman Whetstone, Councilman Harmon, Councilman Hoon, Councilman Christensen, Councilman Norfelt, and then we're joined at the dais with our city manager, Mr. Pyle, and our city recorder, Ms. Kamick. We will now turn the time over to Councilman Hoon for our opening ceremony.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to invite all of you to stand up and do a legend with me. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to acknowledge that we have our representative Cotter with us today. He's back in the corner, so thank you for joining us. And then we would like to recognize the World Mission Society Church of God Youth Group. And we're going to start with a short video of what they have done over the last few years. So we'll start that now.
The Gospel of the Church of God, which began in Korea, has been preached to 175 countries throughout the world. The Church of God practices God's teaching, become the salt and light of the world. They go immediately wherever great disasters took place in the nation and help with disaster relief.
We would be here for days and days. What you did in a couple hours would have taken us days and days. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. We're now going to turn the time over to Eddie to introduce 3 students that are going to speak to us real quick.
Good evening, all. I first give thanks to God of the Bible, Elohim God, God our Father and Mother, for this great privilege. And thank you, Mayor, for your support. And you're really exemplary for our students and determination. It really means a lot to them. We are World Mission Society Church of God, and 2 of our students are going to come and introduce a little bit of their activities. And we're just gushing with pride for them. It's a tough age. I think we all would agree that growing up now has different challenges than when we did. But they believe that they're working for something greater than themselves, and they really want to share the love of God. And I really believe that they're the future leaders of the world. They're already inspiring their fellow students and teachers and everybody around them. So we're so proud of them, and thank you for your support, your recognition for them. I don't think it could ever be overstated, the effect that it's going to have on them going forward. So I sincerely thank all of you city councilmen and women and everybody in attendance. Thank you so much for all of your support. So the students that are gonna speak briefly are Kate Casillas and Kaylin Hernandez. So if we can welcome them with a round of applause, it might help with shyness.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kate Casillas. Hello, everyone. My name is Kaylin Hernandez, and we are volunteers from the World Mission Society Church of God youth group. Before I start, I would like to give thanks to God, to our wonderful Mayor Lang, and to all our council men and women and everyone in attendance for this opportunity. We truly appreciate it. The Church of God believes in God the Father and God the Mother, who the Bible testify about, and keeps a new covenant truth established by Jesus Christ, such as the Passover, which is the way to eternal life. We carry out a wide array of volunteer services as we aspire to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. All of the Church of God's humanitarian activities originated from the love of Heavenly Mother. For this reason, the Church of God would like to continue to support the city and all those in need. Some might think that we are just teenagers or children even, and that we don't have the capacity to do anything meaningful. We don't blame them, because this is the teenager culture nowadays, and even we thought the same. However, after learning about the love of God the Mother, we realize that we can make a quantifiable difference in the world, since we have received so much love from God, our families, our city leaders, and our community. We wanted to do something to give back to our society. This is how our ISBA club got started. ISBA stands for International Student Bible Academy, and it's a Bible education program that helps youth students live a healthy school life, build good relationships through the club activities and volunteer services, as well as receive Bible education. Our hope is to take the lead in brightening our community and lead our friends to do likewise through constant volunteer services. In this way, we hope to inspire not just West Valley City, but all of Utah and even the world. We thank you for your time and support. God bless you and your families.
Thank you so much. All right, who would like to come and accept the certificate of appreciation? We are giving the certificate. We don't give them out often, but this group has done so much for the city as far as helping people bring up their homes appearance-wise. They've done the tree plantings, the blood drives. They've helped in our animal shelter in the past. So we really, truly appreciate everything they do to help our city build and rise where it stands. So I appreciate all that you do. So maybe all of you come up. We'll do one big picture right here in front of the dais, and we'll give you the certificate.
Maybe 2 rows. Might be 3 rows. Yeah.
You can run it.
Let's have you go all the way against the dais, all the way against the back. I'm going to pull this out of your way, and we're just going to set them up right there.
Perfect.
Yeah. We're gonna need you to scoot back all the way back. There we go. So we're all together.
We kind of fan out a
Yeah.
bigger half circle.
That's looking good. And if you can't see me when I'm taking the picture, I can't see you, so.
It's proven.
That looks good, everybody.
Can we, Eddie, do you want to pass this to one of the students up front and then they can hold it?
That's right.
You're welcome.
I'm not gonna be able to see you right here, so we're gonna need you to make sure you can see me.
Tippy toes.
That looks fantastic. Make sure I got everybody. Okay, one.
Wait, wait.
Okay. That looks good. Okay, 1, 2. And I took a bunch. Awesome. That looks great. Thank you.
Right.
If I take one too.
Yep, you're more than welcome.
1, 2, 3.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
You. Yeah.
I have to,
Thank you. Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for all yours. It is. Thank you, sir. So much you as well. Yep. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for everything. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for all the service you guys do. You do a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for coming and all you do.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys, all your hard work.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
So you're welcome to stay, or you can leave if you have places to go, but it's not going to be a super long meeting. So if you'd like to stay, you're more than welcome. Okay, let's see. We will now go to the approval of our minutes from April 4th, 2023. I'll turn it to the council for comments or a motion.
Mayor, I'd move for approval of those minutes.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And they'll stand approved. Thank you so much. We will now accept public comment. Our public comment period is limited to 30 minutes. Any person wishing to speak shall limit their comments to 5 minutes, and we have a nice little clock that will start for you. If you did not have, let's see, upon recognition from the mayor, you are to approach the microphone. If you did not have a chance to sign up with your name and address, please give it to us at that time. All comments should be directed to the mayor. No one addressing the council during comment period shall be allowed to speak more than once during the comment period, and speakers should not expect a debate with the mayor, the council, or staff. We'll have an opportunity to address anything within the 30-minute period as well. So we'll start with our public comment, and we'll start with speaker 1.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I've been seeing on TV, on the news about the reputation of West Valley City. The mayor did a wonderful job with them. I think it was Channel 2. But several months ago, and I couldn't get here earlier, there was two gentlemen that spoke up about their neighborhoods and loud music and cars racing through and that, and we're having the same problems out in our neighborhood. I would like to see more police activity patrols or something. And they've been out there, I've seen them, but they just go through the main roads of our neighborhood. I'd like to see them go through some of the others. You know, they don't have to spend a lot of time out there just to be visible. We've already got kids out there on, I don't want to call them dirt bikes, you know, zipping up and down the streets. And today it started right when the kids were getting out of Orchard Elementary School. There's a stop sign there that people run all the time. I just would like to see some more of that if I could. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you so much. Speaker 2.
Hi, Mayor Ling. Good evening. My name is Elise Christensen, and I'm a 10th grade student at American Preparatory Academy, and I live in West Valley City. I'm working with the organization Constitution Week.live to promote reading the Constitution as citizens during Constitution Week, which is from September 17th to September 23rd, 2023. Another one of my team members already spoke with you, and from your recommendation, we have scheduled a presentation with the West Valley City Youth Council in a few weeks on May 2nd. I'm here to share our vision and request a date to propose to the Youth Council on May 2nd. May I share our newsletter and information with you? Do I give one to the council?
If you'll just give it to Miss Kamick, she'll take care of it.
Okay. As we continue to work with you, I wanted to share that Bluffdale City has already reserved Tuesday, September 19th, and we are in discussion with Sandy City for Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. I hope to reserve the date of Thursday, September 21st, to add to the West Valley City calendar to celebrate reading the Constitution during Constitution Week in 2023, and take that date as an option to the Youth Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, speaker 3. No back.
Good evening. So, of course, my name is Richard Nowak. I'm a resident of Chesterfield. It's an agriculture subdivision. Recently I had a visit from animal control. So they wanted to be on the property and actually count the animals and check their health and well-being. So they showed up at my gate and they didn't have a complaint from any of the residents. As far as I know, in 20 years, I've never had a complaint about my animals from any of the residents. I asked them what they were there for, and they said a follow-up. And I said, follow-up for what? I'm in my own probation, and I'm not on probation. A year ago, they were there, counted some animals and didn't issue any citation or a warning. They just said, well, no, we're here with the wildlife team, took some ducks looking for bird flu, which I have a letter I want to share with you. That he said, well, there's no open case. There's no open report. So, and he just said, well, we want to make sure you're in compliance. That sounds a little bit more like harassment because they have no probable cause. They have no complaint. There's not an open citation or probation period. So I didn't really appreciate him doing this. In that we got to the conversation, well, you can deny us access to the property, but we'll be back. You know, we'll be back, which I took as also a threat. So I'm not happy. I mean, there needs to be, I did ask him, I mean, is there some statute in your book or some protocol is why you're here today? And he says, no, there's nothing in the books. They just decided to come down to give me some more grief. All right. I've been through enough in this city. I'm gonna plan on trying to move this somewhere else because I've lived in several cities in Utah in the last 30 years. I've lived in Illinois, New York, some time in Georgia, and I have never encountered this kind of harassment from our city government. You know, even though we're pretty small, we've been contributing to this community since we've been here because I employ sometimes up to 5 people, so I pay their taxes. So taxes come back to the city. Hundreds of people come to us for our service. While they're here, they buy gas, maybe some food, maybe go to the store, buy things to donate to us. As I run this, it's a nonprofit. So I'm going to take it somewhere I'm going to be appreciated. Because I thought it might compare to the DEA, just going door to door, knocking on doors and, hey, got any illegal drugs in here? You mind if we come in and look around? And that's what I compare this to, is I'm just being harassed, and it's got to stop. And I did talk to Lane today. He's a nice guy. He says, you know, if I want, I can come write it on the paper. They don't even have a form. And he'd take it into consideration as filing a complaint. I would really like to file an official grievance with somebody. Because again, this has been a problem. So they did come in and he looked around and counted my animals. And yeah, I did mention you want to make sure they're happy and healthy. Right now, all shelters are pretty much at capacity. I've seen it on the news. So maybe they thought they can catch me at something because we're at pretty much that same level capacity. But unless somebody complains or there's some open citation, I really don't want them there taking up my time. And it's disturbing to my volunteers because they're like, well, what are these officers crawling around your property for? So I think that's about all I have on my notes here. Yeah, Nicole, you get these? Okay. So in this letter that I'm passing around, actually, last year when the wildlife took some ducks, the state top veterinarian, so the opinion should be above anybody else's veterinary. Or I know animal control could look at lethargic dogs or see if they're mistreated. But these people have I would trust their letter better than what animal control's opinion of my animals are. And he did say they look good in the pens. I mean, he came when it was wet and I had wheelbarrows of wood chips ready to put in. So I do my best to make sure the maintenance is done around there, even though everybody else is shorthanded. I need one more groundskeeper and a receptionist. So anyway, I've heard that there are going to be some changes with city ordinance. They in the same building with animal control. So I'm hoping that we're going to look things over. So the public should like their governments, not fear them. I get PSD because I can't sleep at night. Like, when are they going to come again? So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Speaker 4.
Good evening. I am back again because I am still having issues with my neighbor. So I figure if I keep coming, it might get into you guys' heads that I had enough of our neighbors with the auto mechanics. It's noisy, it's loud. Last weekend, they fixed 15 cars driving. They're getting where they're parking them down the street instead of in their driveways and going and walking and bringing them to their houses. So it doesn't look like they're all at his home. So he'll scatter them down the street and have one of his sons go and drive it down to his house. They don't have a driver's license and put them in the driveways to fix it. We are trying to get pictures, but it's kind of hard to get the license plates because they block it with another vehicle. I actually called Officer Moon, not last weekend, but the weekend before. And I left him a message and I left another code enforcement a message. Well, Officer Moon called me back and said, we don't work weekends. Are you kidding? Why would I answer my phone? We need code enforcement on the weekends. It's very, very, very important. And our neighbors are watching us too, because they know we're turning them in. And I know they got a letter from Officer Moon, because Officer Moon told me he is going to write him a letter. And so he's been kind of covering up things right now because he got that letter in the mail. And they're parking cars in their backyard to hide them. And then also I want to know what's going on with the neighbor next door to me that his house is boarded up. I feel I should know, something because I live next door to it. It's rodent infested. I need some action on this. You guys are my city council. I need some help from you. I can't do it. I've called the health department. In fact, I called the police 3 times on my neighbors this weekend. Officer Nelson did return my call and said, I'm going to send emails and texts out to all the other officers and try to get more drive-bys through this neighborhood so we can try to catch these people. They're racing up and down the roads with their 4-wheelers. The kids are not old enough to drive. And I don't know what to do. We've lived there for 35 years and we've seriously talked to a realtor to think about moving. And it's sad that we have to do that. Why should we be the ones that have to pay the price? So if one of you guys could follow up with me, tell me who I need to call on the weekend, and I'll be your police work so we can get this resolved. We need some action. It's not right. And I've asked him, what's my rights? You don't have any. Or how do I clean up these rodents? We'll send you a brochure how to clean these up. No, we need to get to the bottom of it and get this house fixed so the rodents don't come to my house. And one time he had snakes in his yard eating all the rodents, and then the snakes would come into our yard to sunbathe and then crawl back through the fence to eat more rodents because the weeds were this tall. And that's when I started calling West Valley. The weeds aren't that tall yet, but it takes 3 months for you guys to get somebody to cut them down. And it's fire hazard with all the fireworks in July. It shouldn't take 3 months to have somebody come out and cut down those weeds. And I would love for somebody to call me. You got my number, and tell me what to do. I've talked to Angela. I've talked to all the code enforcements. I've got like 15 of their names wrote down with phone numbers. And it's been going on for, well, that house next door to me he didn't take out trash for 25 years. 25 years of trash in that house. It's unbelievable. And I call the health department. Oh, it's his castle. He can do what he wants. Cool. Yeah, I have a granddaughter and somebody living with me, and there's all these rodents, and then the guy would come out in his soiled underwear to get his groceries off the dang porch because his bathroom is so full of trash. He can't even shower or go to the bathroom in his house. He was going to the bathroom in containers and lining them up in the hallway.
Okay, thank you. Was there anyone else that wished to speak that did not have a chance to sign in? Okay, this woman in the front, please. And give us your name and address, please.
Okay. I'm Yule Collins, and I live at 3392 Meadow Clover Court, West Valley City, of course. And I'm here to talk about restoring a plaque that was put up in a park by the it was the West Valley Park by the animal shelter. It was put there by the Sons of the Utah Pioneers in 1996. And it was taken down when the animal shelter was put up. And I asked Steve Bueller to find it. And he said he found it with his dry sense of humor in the lost plaque closet here somewhere. So I still don't know where it's at. But anyway, I'd like it restored. I have a picture of Mayor Wright and my mother and I. My dad before he passed away, wrote up what should go on the plaque. And so the city, I guess, took it out, and I'd like it restored. And I didn't know who to ask, who to restore it. So I decided to come here to see if I could get all the councilmen together and the mayor and everybody, so we can get that plaque restored before I pass away. And see if we can get that put, I guess, back on the park. But it's a plaque that gives the history of all of how the irrigation and the water system and how the pioneers got the water and the irrigation system set up to water this valley and the canals. And it's very, very interesting. And it has a map on it of how that system worked. And so that's my concern and my hope that that plaque can get put up. It's not a very big plaque, and you guys can pass that around and see what it looks like. Picture of my dad on the back, and that's another thing I want to find. That picture of my dad was hanging in the Don, you brought me that picture of my dad. It was hanging in the Hall of Fame here. And then Sherry, she borrowed it to go in to display it. And she's never brought it back. And I could, you can't find my picture of my dad now. So anyway, I'm looking for that picture too. But the plaque is more important. If we can get that put back, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Was there anyone else that wished to speak? Yep, go ahead. Give us your name and address.
Jim Visak, 5419 West Lockwood Drive, West Valley City. I want to give a shout out to our graffiti guy. I was in the Parkway area, as I'm there a lot, with My Hometown handing out flyers, and noticed there was a lot of tagging. All of a sudden, I see a city truck driving around, and this is blue tagging on white fences, so it stood out. And gets out the spray gun and sprays it and takes care of it for the citizens. In which, once again, we all know with graffiti, sooner you get it off, the better, and then they won't keep doing it. So a shout out to our graffiti removers or cover-ups. Moving on to code enforcement. I think you guys need to spend a little bit more time on fences. There's a lot of confusion on fences, view, obstruction of view, etc. Even contractors don't know it. My hometown, I was out with the advanced team for our day of service on the 22nd. And one of the projects we're doing is a brand new fence that this lady paid a lot of money to have put in. We're modifying it because it wasn't put up to code. The slats weren't far enough away and it was over the height. It's not a 20-foot setback. They went off the sidewalk guideline. You can see why they did it. So we're going to fix it for them to get it to the current code. I know there's other people that have had fence issues with the spacing and the percentage. You've got to be 50% view through it. I think that needs to be fixed because it also works with the plants that are behind it. If you've got a hedge, you can't see through it. That's the same as an obstruction in the fence. And so when we were driving around on the project, within a mile radius, we found 30 more houses that had a similar obstruction of either fences or plants where when they're driving out, and I'd be willing to bet that those 30 houses aren't being tagged by code enforcement. This house is right on the main street. and a brand new fence, so it's easy to see. Is it out of violation of current code? Absolutely. But I think the code can be changed because there's nothing wrong with the fence. They have huge wide driveways when they're pulling out. Like I said, some of the neighbors have hedges and you can't see anything. So if they're gonna tag the fences, they need to tag the hedges and they need to do the whole neighborhood, or you guys need to look at it about changing it. And then they're talking about a review process. Any review process needs to be before the ALJ, so the ALJ can still be the final decision. The way I would believe it should go is the city, the code enforcement, would bring it to the review panel, if that's what you guys decide to do. They would have an opportunity with the homeowner, with the code enforcement, make sure that they're connecting, that all the, as Mr. Bueller would say, the i's were dotted and the t's were crossed. Maybe introduce them for the first time. See if we can keep it out of the ALJ's hands using that review committee that way, instead of an appeal process afterwards. I think it should be pre-ALJ, so when the ALJ makes his or her decision, that is the final decision. And so that would be my spin on it. If somebody wants to talk to me about it, I'll give them more details. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anyone else that wished to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the comment period. Turn it over to Mr. Pyle. Did you have any comments tonight?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. To the council for any comments? Mr. Christensen.
Elaine, I know where that plaque is or where it was a year ago. So I'll see if it's still there. And if it is, I'll put it on Mr. Pyle's desk and we'll get it put up again because I helped put it up the first time.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Couple items here I want to bring it up. The first one is the Richard Norwalk. I personally want to ask the code enforcement to explain to us in the study meeting for next week or so, put in a communication, Mayor, because this one, it basically, like he says, I wouldn't let you in and I will come back again. That's what you see right there. So I think it's that's what our policy is all about for this city. I think it's a little bit too much. So I want to see that in our communication for next week. The second item is this, the citizen over there, she mentioned about with Officer Moon. And Officer Moon said, well, we're not working on a weekend. Are you kidding? That's a witness right there. And we were told people in code enforcement working on a weekend. And it kind of awkward to see 2 points right here, a little bit different than what we heard. So I want to bring it up and I want to see that in our communication for next week to clear this one up, to make sure we all understand and we have the same page. Mayor, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right,
Ma'am,
yes,
could I have an alibi back to my item? I can reply to both of those
sure.
very quickly and not have any potentially any further need. So in the first instance with Mr. Nowak, I didn't want to say anything because information was provided earlier, but his whole complaint or concern is based on the idea that he's being harassed because there was no complaint. As you heard him say many times, there was a complaint. And the second item to the weekend working, I would ask Mr. Morris, he can come either to the stand right there or just right here. He can explain very quickly, just like I have before, what the weekend work policy is right now and here for everybody's hearing, which would be good for the public because a lot of time allegations or claims are made. And I don't know what Mr. Moon said or how that was relayed, but we can clear up right here what exactly the weekend work policy is. So if that's okay, Mayor, I'm going to have Mr. Morris come up and do that.
Okay, thank you.
Wayne.
our mayor and council, our code enforcement officers are available Monday through Saturday. We typically have them working Monday through Thursday, frequently Tuesday to Friday, not often Wednesday to Saturday. But when there's a need arises, we certainly can do that. If someone has a legitimate complaint that we feel like sending somebody by on a Saturday will shed some information, then we're certainly willing to do that.
Not just willing or can, you do it, right?
Frequently, yeah. We have
Okay.
several officers that live within the city, and they're more than happy to just run by a property and see what the current status is. They'll do that frequently for garage sales and some of these businesses that are alleged to be working on a Saturday. Most of those are garage sales, but some of them are car sales or car fixing, that type of thing. Sure.
It still sounds like a one-off. And it seems like we need to have better coverage on the weekends than just they'll take an hour out of their day, their weekend to go drive by someplace. We've heard in the last month some pretty serious issues on the weekends, and it seems like we need to have better coverage.
Certainly, if they're working on a Saturday, that's a day in the week that they don't have access to other, for instance, the police department, the COPs for that type of support. And so there's absolutely two sides to that, to having them work on a Saturday, which means what they can do on Wednesday. For instance, people most of the time call on a Monday, and that officer's not going to be in the office answering his phone until Wednesday. And there is that officer, it's his beat. He's the one that can answer questions on that. So we've got them for 4 days a week. And we're certainly willing to have them where it's most beneficial, both for the residents and for the other work that they do. So, yeah.
So is there a phone number you can call on Saturdays for emergency help?
For code enforcement, is an emergency?
Well,
I'm not sure what the code enforcement emergency would be.
well, if she's got underage kids and they're fixing cars in the driveway, would a code enforcement take care of the fixing the cars in the driveway?
They would not.
Okay, so we will have to have this as a communication item next week anyway. Okay. That's the end of my questions. Okay, thank you.
One more, Mayor.
Oh, yeah.
You don't mind. Thank you. Oh, I think you okay right there, Lane. The second item is, the second things I want to do is try to make sure to understand Mr. Richard Norwalk right there is that if you have the complaint about his property, can you bring it up for our next meeting? Just show us, or maybe just email us. You know what I'm saying about.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I
Can we
mean,
do what?
you mentioned about you have a complaint.
No, there was a complaint. That's all I'm saying. And that
Okay.
complainant wanted to not be.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Morris. All right, we'll now go on to our resolutions. We have resolution 23-43. And I'll turn it to Mr. Pyle.
Thank you, Mayor. So this resolution would authorize execution of a federal aid agreement for our Crosstown Trail project. This is a project which you've seen come before you before and largely depends on contribution of grants through various federal and state sources. And this would add another let me see, where's the number? Additional $321,889 of TAP funds. And then there's a fiscal impact of our own match for the project of $282,645,000.
Okay, thank you. I'll now turn the resolution to the council for motion or discussion.
Motion to approve resolution 23-43.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move on to our consent agenda. And as I remember, they're all pretty routine. Is there any that the council would like explanations on? Okay, seeing none, I'll just turn it to the council. These are mainly right-of-ways and working easements so that we can do our improvements along certain roads that we're working on. So I'll turn it to the council for an itemized approval or for the entire group at once.
I would move for approval of the consent agenda, all 8 items and all resolutions.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Our next item, closed session, we do not have a need for, so we just have one more motion.
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor, please say aye,
Aye.
and we stand adjourned. Thank you so much for coming out.